Guys, welcome back to Penguin's Garage. Today, I can't leave well enough alone, as we all may know. And good is never great, and great is almost perfect. So, we're going to address an issue that Tacoma has, and it's kind of a major problem. So, on a normal vehicle, when a motor mount fails, it has what you would call like a captured system. So, you have the mount itself, and then it can only go physically so far. So you might hear like a clunking, or like a Chevy Silverado with the 4.8, I think it is in it. They continuously chew through motor mounts, but it can only go so far. Honda Accord is the same thing. It'll lift up and go thud, 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 thud. On a Tacoma, it's a little different. It uses a rubber on rubber material, and basically they have a plate that's bonded to the top and a plate that's bonded to the bottom. When it lets go, it goes whee and smashes into your hood, can dent the hood, can just make a ton of problems. So I know that as soon as you put 40s on these trucks, it happens all the time. I know that Trail Gear has a bulletproof mount that, from my understanding, is trash. I know some guys run them. If you're running them and having good luck, rock on, dude. However, based off of some comments and some private messages and everything that I've been getting, I put the Trail Gear gearbox on the truck. Several people say, good luck with that. Let me know how long it lasts. Well, when it fails, it's going full hydro. I should have bought a redhead gearbox, but anyways, lots of things could have been done differently, and I've been trying to keep you guys up to date on that as we go. I am not going to get stuck on the side of the trail with a broken motor mount, trying to ratchet strap, and be like, I knew this was a possibility. I'm not that guy. So, what I did is I got a whole bunch of pieces and parts. So these are the second smallest ones that they had. We'll see what they are. 1.5 inch, I forget what they call these joints, but we're going to call them spinny strong joints for right now, for lack of better. So they consist of 2 rubber bushings. Now you can get these, if these are suspension, they'll be a poly bushing that's much stiffer, but you can see these, oops, they have a lot of bend. You can't see that, but they have a lot more bend and kind of margin for error. So there's a sleeve that slides in the middle. There's 2 independent bushings that just kind of look like this. So you slap it together, bracket goes on the outside, you end up with this. What I am going to do is I'm going to adapt this to that, because I feel I can make a much stronger mount than is sold for. I found another design that was about $525 after it was shipped. I am $60 into material right now, so that sounds a lot better to me, and I get to build what I want. So basically, that's the goal for today. Focusing only on motor mounts. Now, if I get this done in time, I have the new exhaust system for this truck. We might try and tackle that, but I gotta hone things in, dude. I gotta focus on one thing. The past couple of videos, I'm like a little squirrel, like in between things. Like I'm letting one thing dry and over here, and I'm not transitioning properly. And I'm sure you guys are struggling to follow along, but let the ADD fly, right? So that's what we're doing today. I already got the wheels off of this thing, so let's dig in and I'll show you what I got in mind. So we got the vehicle supported, got the jack stands under it. Kind of let the axle. Just discovered a little issue while we were flexing this thing. It does appear that the U-joint is gonna have a problem here. Well, we'll address that later. Today's motor mount day. that's how the squirreling happens, guys. I'm gonna write this on the board, and when Brody gets back from his vacation, we'll deal with it. So we are gonna be welding. We're gonna protect our ORIs, because that would be the last thing that I want to deal with. So we get the axle sagging all the way down. That's going to give me access to the mounts on the other side. My original thought, we're going to support the engine on one side at a time. That way it doesn't move side to side. I'm going to pick it up just a smooch and then pull the mount out. There is a bracket going to the engine. I'm going to leave that there and I'm going to build off of that. Here's a good clip of the before. You can see we have a wire harness up there that we got to incorporate into the new mount. Basically, there's a bracket that comes down here, right here. And there's a nut at the top of this. So everything from here to here is going. I'm cutting this right off the frame. So we'll be able to build our new mount, maybe coming off the top and the side here, headed that way, incorporate it into the existing piece of metal, weld it all solid. Bob's your sister, let's get on the trail. So I'm gonna tear all that apart, and then once it's apart, I'm gonna show you how we build it. Getting this motor mount bracket off the frame is gonna be the same as we did everything else. Basically, I'm gonna cut just to the side of the weld and then grind it flat and move forward there. I don't think I need to show you guys all that stuff again. So I'll be back in just a second for you guys, and probably like an hour for me. So the motor mount is out. I got all this cleaned up. Bracket's gone. I got a pretty good idea of what we're gonna do. Here's the mount. I got it set up in the vise right here. Look at this crack, guys. This thing was separating already. We would have got out for our test drive and thump, there it goes. Bye-bye motor. So I'm doing the right thing. This is a plate that goes up against the motor, and then this here mount sits inside of it like that, and it gives it heat protection from the rest of the motor. So there's a dowel pin right there, and the dowel pin sits inside of this and lines everything up, and it sticks way through and goes through the engine. So my thought, I'm gonna finish this fucker off, bye-bye, and then I'm gonna use this whole piece inside of this so that I still have my alignment pin, and I can go up in and it will nut into place the same way that it used to, and be secure. Now, this is how it sits in the truck. So I basically have tack welded that into place. It miraculously is the exact same size, so pretty stoked about that. I'm gonna take this guy, put this inside of this. This goes up into place, ratchets in. I'm gonna do a couple little welds to help secure that piece in there so it doesn't go anywhere. And then from that point, we'll get some CAD drawings and CAD this to the frame. So let's see what's involved in separating this. So I've never pulled an engine mount apart before. So this, oh man, this thing was hammered. Oh my. Wow. That thing was not far at all from coming out and saying hello. This might be a little too bouncy for this, but we're gonna. There we go. Look at that, guys. That was just one, maybe two little love bumps away from not being a motor mount anymore. All the smooth areas up here, this is all done. In the bucket. Now I gotta clean all this off. See what this does. So that's all cleaned up. good enough to weld in there. So let's get that put into place here. Oh, that's gonna work peachy. So you can see how that's gonna sit inside. On this side, I have my stud. It's everywhere I need it to be. So I'm gonna clean up around this thing. That way I can buzz it in. I'm only gonna kind of, not spot weld it, but tack it in there. Just do a couple little burns in it because it doesn't need much. It's gonna be friction pulled in there. So let's do that. So there we go. It's burned in there. I'm not gonna burn this yet. So eventually I'm gonna burn this, and I'm gonna put a second plate in here to really stiffen it. And I might even go from like here forward just to give it a little bit more, because if it's not overbuilt, it ain't built. Not an engineer, I'm an overbuilder. So yeah, let's go shove this thing in the truck and see what we can come up with on our CAD program. So there it is, bolted in, guys, and there's how we're gonna mount it. So here's my little piece. That's going to be plenty strong to go up there, weld it to the frame, weld it to the top, and then I might do a couple little gussets side to side, and we'll be done. It's going to make this nice and sweet and simple. So let's go transfer this onto some metal. The plate of choice here is going to be 1/4 inch. Let's figure out how to not waste any tin. Anything. Ta-da! There's one. Voila! That's what we came up with, guys. That's the bracket right there. So sits on the frame. Mounts here. Engine's here. They meet in the middle. Everybody happy, happy, happy. Let's get it put in. So here's the other end of our bracket. See, we got that all welded up. I have a brace inside of it. So that's going to be plenty of strength. Maybe, I hope. Hope I didn't just go backwards in this. I should put a piece on either side of this. So this is about as simple a design as I can come up with. You can see we have our existing bracket mixed with the new one in there. I painted that already. And then we have our new Y shape. I'm just going to burn that sucker in, and we should be done. So that's a pretty easy project, actually. There she is. For $60, you too can have a bulletproof mount. So if it ever breaks, it's going to be stuck inside of that housing and will not be able to hit the roof. But yeah, that's all we're doing. I could close it all in and do everything else, but honestly I think that's going to be plenty strong, so off to the next side. And if you were wondering how I held it up there, I have the engine support going side to side. Yeah, this corner, not the most stable thing in the world, but I basically just ratchet strapped it and took the weight of the mount off just enough. So now all the weight's back on that mount. And she appears to be holding just fine. So she's fixed. Let's take a look across the bar here. Okay, this side of the motor is a touch higher. So when we put it back together, we're gonna go just a scoochie. Actually, no, that's about where I want it. So it's a pretty even gap, touch higher over there. These mounts were sagging quite a bit. Yeah. So I don't know how I'm going to support this side yet, but it'll have to do with this bar and a ratchet strap again. So this side is way easier. Yum! No steering in the way. I could take the Ori out of the way if I wanted to. Honestly, I don't want to. So we're gonna weld it all in there with it in there. And yeah, I can get to all the bolts and let's get it done. Okay, so that's loose. The next part, guys, it's a pain. Not gonna lie. Not even gonna lie. So I'm gonna do the same thing I did on the other side, guys. For this particular part, I'm gonna get nasty with the air hammer, beat that thing out of there and grind it all flat, and then I'll come back to you guys because there's no way that I'm gonna get a good shot in there. At this point in time, what I have found is easiest on this is to kind of grab an edge of the actual plate with the air hammer, tear it out of the way, and then follow the weld all the way up and just keep cutting the piece of metal. It makes it a lot easier, and then I grind the weld down with the metal erasers and it's done deal, and then we're moving ahead. So I'm not going to try and get that mount out of there. It's loose, I can wiggle it, and I'm also not going to try and fight with anything else that's in the way. Just going to blast on the bracket, everything will fall out at once, and we'll move forward. So I'll pick back up when that happens. Here it is. We've separated the motor mount. You guys watched me do that on the other one. You just use the air hammer, break it off. I cleaned up this plate. Before I do the other piece on here, I'm going to put this in there now. Especially, you know, I know what we're doing here, so this makes it easier for me to just burn where I need to burn and then move on from there. So I'll get that done, come right back. So here's the mount that we took off of there, guys. You can see, basically just take the air hammer and just destroy everything about this thing. All the welds are still on the vehicle, and then I just grind the welds flat. It's way faster than doing it any other way that I have found anyways. I mean, you got a better way, you got a better way. This one here, same thing, just snippy, just absolutely butchered it. Ran it right up there. Ooh la la. So I want to say it took me 15 minutes to get this bracket off and smooth. So we have at this point, the new piece that we just welded is in there. I'm going to get the bushing, put it in place, spot weld it, make our tabs, and move forward. So let's get it going. Fresh off the sizzler, guys, still smoking. So she's all done. Got her welded up, sitting there just sizzling away. Sizzle. So I'm going to cool that bad boy down and then get her tossed back into the truck. We'll get our feet made up. We'll get the bushing in. We'll get this all put back together, and then we'll done. Right? Maybe? Ish? Meh? I don't know. I don't know, guys. Sometimes I just wonder. Just like the other side, guys, we got our piece of metal. We have enough template here. We're gonna cut it out 1/4 inch, get it tossed on there. I did this side here, I widened this out 1/8 of an inch, so it's 1/8 thicker. I think it'll be perfectly fine and still looks sexy, kinda. So let's get that cut out. This one here, I think what I might do is I might actually cut this piece into 2, cut it right in half, and then cut both of them out at once. I think it might make it a little easier. I don't really know though. I just kind of wing this shit, guys. You already know that though. So I'm gonna make this happen. Be right back. So guys, we have 2 identical brackets. So we're gonna put that in here. So I did throw a quick thing of paint on that. We're going to line these little chinguses up in here. Oh, it fits perfect. It's kind of what we were hoping for, I guess. So there's one, and there's two. Oh yeah. So let me get those spot welded, and we'll pull everything out and weld it, and then we'll pull it out, and then we'll put it back in, and then we'll pull it out, and then we'll put it back in, and then we'll do it all again. Yeah, so that's what she's looking like as of right now. So this is what it looks like. I unbolt everything, I take it back out of the car, pull the bushings out, because even the little spot welds, they get it a little. Now, it's not damaged or anything, but if you weld the whole thing, you're gonna melt them out. So now that this is like this, I'm going to tack weld here, tack weld up there, and then burn them in. Then I'll do my same piece right here that I did on the other side. That's it. It's all welded in there. Burned in real nice like inside and outside. So now we're going to put it back in and line it up where it needs to be, tack it into place, and then try and keep the bushings cool, and I'll show you how I do that. Another thing, I don't know if I touched on it, guys, but whenever you're doing this stuff, you're probably going to be the next a-hole that has to repair this stuff. So if these mounts go out, I'm the idiot that has to fix them. So you got to always do this stuff so that you know how it's going to come apart. So I know that taking this bolt out, this will collapse into the mount. I'll take this piece out, and then I can do these bushing. So that is a foreskin that you really need to think about when you're doing this stuff. How I keep the bushings from melting is I get a couple rags and a water, and I keep this thing pretty full of water, and I just keep putting them on there as I'll weld, and then I'll put these on the bushing. Not so much the weld on the frame, but sometimes it's inevitable. So yeah, I do that, and then I will blow it down with cold air sometimes. Just kind of take stages. I mean, it's going to get up to them. They can take some heat, but not welding heat. So this is a little trick. So that's it, guys. We used this and some air, cooled everything down, made sure our bushings didn't melt out of it, and burned that in successfully. So I'm gonna tighten this up, get some paint on it, and then lower the engine back down, make sure we're straight. If we're not straight, honestly, we're gonna live with it, and we're gonna make it seem like it was okay, because I'm not redoing any of this, especially if we're only an eighth off or something stupid. And just like that, guys, we have motor mounts. Let's lower her down. Oh, we gotta tighten it first. Oh, almost forgot. Hold on. Time for the money shot, guys. Is it gonna hold? Let's just give it to it. Yep. Held better than the camera. Okay. All the weight is on our new mount. I don't know if you guys can see this gap in here. We're going with perfect. Absolutely, appearingly perfect. So our mounts are in, guys. The day is still young. I think it's like 3. Okay, so correction, it's 4 o'clock. We started this at 10, I think, maybe ish. So this is all in. Engine mounts, they are good. Yeah, so I have an exhaust system and a little bit of ambition. So let's get this sucker put into the truck there, and I'll show you my new pieces. What we have here, guys, is an Aero muffler. Now, the reason I went with Aero is because I had a Dodge before this Dodge and I put a aero muffler on it, and it made it sound like a man truck instead of a drowning pig like most Cummins sound like. So when I needed an exhaust on this, the factory muffler is too big to fit where it needs to. So I need to squeeze this little pig into place. Now, this is the XL series. It's their, they call it an Aero 25 XL. And the 25 is basically a 2.5 inch exhaust. A 30-30 muffler, and I used a 40-40 muffler, aka 4 inch muffler. Now, you can get these with Aero 25-50 if you want. Whatever, just blast it big old out the other side. I'm not into that. I don't know if I'm gonna like this. I love the quietness of the truck in its current state. I get to just putt around and I really enjoy it. But this guy here, it's gonna breathe a little more. I don't personally think that exhaust systems give you an absorbent amount of horsepower. If you gained 1 or 2 horsepower, honestly, I'd be kind of surprised. I know a lot of people put intakes on their vehicle. So in my personal experience, exhaust gives you more pull at high RPMs, and an intake gives you more pull at low RPM. So you get a little more torque out of an intake, and you get a little more horsepower out of a muffler. When I did a full exhaust and intake on my last truck, honestly didn't notice a difference. The only difference is I could hear the turbo spool a little more, and I really liked that. This doesn't have a turb ski yet. If anybody out there wants to, you know, let me try out a turbo kit, I might be interested. So, anyone? Anyone has an LS that they want to just kind of part ways with? Okay, let's do some work. I'm going to forewarn you. If you're a professional exhaust guy, you might want to shut the video off now. I don't have a tube bender. Nor do I have a tube expander. So everything that I do is going to be basically with what I have existing for bends, as well as just kind of making the pipes crooked. I'm okay with it. If this was a customer's vehicle, none of this would be happening, guys. You got to understand, this is my vehicle, and I'm not spending $600 to have an exhaust done. So this is $220 worth of shit. And it's going on the truck, and I'm going to reuse a lot of the stock stuff. So I'm going to start putzing around, playing, see where I end up, see what fits where, and we'll go from there. You guys know I'm a Milwaukee fanboy. These Milwaukee safety glasses, fuck them. They don't protect you from shit. There's too much of a gap underneath. I'm gonna go back to my 35-cent safety glasses. Look at these guys. Basic, nothing to them. No gappage. Oh, what do you say, Sonny? Yeah. Those things suck. Sorry, Milwaukee, but do better. So I have plenty of room under here to show you guys. What I'm thinking is I'm gonna run this pretty close to the edge there. So I'm gonna put the muffler probably about where that pipe ends right now for the cat. And then I'm gonna use another piece of straight pipe and come right over to this and make this nice and easy. That'll escape the axle. It comes up way higher than the ORI will ever let it. And I think that'll be pretty good, like right there. And then we're still in our stock location here. So I'm gonna get the pipe cleaned up, fit up the arrow, tack it, do the other tack, set you guys up, and let's see what we can do here. So guys, here's what we got. We have one hanger over here, and it's pulling down. One's pulling up. I understand this is gonna put stress on them, but with where I have this stuff, if it goes up too high, it's gonna hit up here. So kind of pulling against itself. And then have a pipe, it's at a weird angle here. There we go. So you can see the pipe kind of goes up, but it's clearing this guy here, and I don't have much more down travel. These things are pretty stretched at the moment. So then we did an exhaust hanger right there and used all the factory piping all the way back. So that's kind of where we're gonna end up. It ain't pretty, but it ain't $600 either. So yeah, that's the exhaust. Sorry I didn't get more installing it, guys, but I mean, just picture this, right? A bunch of flashy, 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 flashy. There you go. That's what you see there. And then over here, you're gonna flashy, flashy, flashy. Get it? So yeah, it was basically just put pieces in till they line up, and that's gonna be it. So that's gonna be it on this one, guys. Next time, I don't know what we got. We still have some issues we need to take care of. That yoke is binding up, that full droop, which this thing's gonna be there a lot. The wiring still needs to be dealt with a little bit. I got to do some fender trimming. We got a lot of stuff, little stuff to still do. We still have to take this bed off. We have to take the nuts that are bolted in there, figure out what they do, weld them or do something with that, and then set the bed back down, bolt it into place. Tail lights go on, camper shell goes on. What else do we have on this thing? I don't even know, guys. We got a bunch of lights to do. I bought a whole bunch of lights underneath this thing. It's gonna be like Christmas under there. Yeah, so it's looking pretty good, guys. We are like getting there, like officially creeping up, getting there. The motor mounts was kind of a last minute thing. Again, didn't want to get stranded. So thanks for watching another episode of Penguin's Garage, guys. Don't feel bashful about hitting the likey thing and the subscribey thing and throwing some words in the comment section down below. Let me know what you guys think of this thing, and yeah, I'm going to call it a day. Thanks, guys.